And we're live.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, wrestling fans across the world, we are back to you live with another edition of CZO and The Pickle.
And we will bring you guys the WWE Monday Night Raw recap right after WrestleMania. Fresh right off of Raw, we are coming to you live.
We're coming to you live, and here's another edition of our show. Let's start things off with Brock Lesnar coming out to start Raw.
All right, well, if you guys didn't see, Paul Heyman came out with Brock Lesnar like normal. He was on point. He sounded great. He was revved up. It was insane. Brock Lesnar was ready to tear everybody's heads off, looking for Seth Rollins. It was just the whole entire stadium was on fire.
Paul Heyman gave a great promo tonight, as he does every time he's out. I hope we get to see more of him with Brock Lesnar signing back with WWE. I don't know if it's going to be, him coming back every couple months now that he's not the champion. We'll see if they put the belt back in his hands, but I love Paul Heyman. He's one of my favorite in-ring mic performers ever, but Brock Lesnar completely destroyed everybody. If you guys didn't see it, Brock Lesnar went nuts. He basically took the announcers table and threw it on the announcers. They were all down. And then he brought good old Michael Cole into the ring and F5'd him twice, I believe. And he was down for the count. So they had this they had no announcers for a little bit. It was kind of funny, but Brock Lesnar went absolutely nuts, and Stephanie McMahon came out and basically just suspended Brock Lesnar. But it was classic Brock Lesnar, and it looks like he's actually turning face. I mean, he seemed heel for a while, even though I know he had a lot of supporters, and obviously there's always going to be haters with Brock Lesnar. But he gave I thought that he gave a good performance at WrestleMania yesterday. Got robbed of the belt, of course, but it was time for a new champion, a champion that's going to be on Raw every single week.
Yes, and to go off that point, I definitely really enjoyed having a beast come back and just tear apart everybody that gets in his way, kind of like the old days with Mass Kane when he used to come out and just choke slam people and not listen to Vince McMahon or anybody, and anybody that got into his way, he just destroyed. So that's what Brock Lesnar did tonight. I definitely think anybody should go and check it out. It was definitely awesome. The whole entire the fans there, the stadium was so electric tonight. I mean, I know you could speak more on it, Pickle. They were just crazy tonight. I mean, they were the loudest fans. They really let you know what they were thinking. It was awesome.
The fans were insane. At one point, they had a wave going around. It was just that wrestlers didn't even know what to do. They were all just looking around, amazed by this huge wave that was going around in the arena. They were loud. One thing that I do want to talk about, just to go a little off subject from Raw tonight, but it did happen in Raw tonight, the fans chanting CM Punk. They've been doing that for a long time. And I have to say, I was a huge CM Punk fan when he was in WWE. But what a lot of people don't realize, it's not like WWE doesn't want him there. He doesn't want to be in WWE. So why are they still chanting his name? I mean, time has passed. He's going to be in UFC. I'm excited to see what he does in UFC. Probably won't be much, and he'll be back to WWE in a couple of years. But I'm getting a little tired of the fans chanting CM Punk during like good matches when there's good wrestlers out there.
Yeah, and I at first was holding on a little bit more than you were, but I am definitely kind of getting to the point now too with the fact that you got some great talent out there, and my hats off to Dolph Ziggler. I know you're a big fan of his, but him and Daniel Bryan put on one hell of a match. That's another must-see. Go watch some highlights from that. They beat the crap out of each other, and as long as those two are going to be feuding, they're going to be putting on awesome matches. they still were headbutting the crap out of each other again tonight.
Yeah, well, let's
It
get
was
into
just a
that
phenomenal
match.
match.
That was the first official match of the night.
Yeah, that's
WWE
what they kicked off with.
title. Dolph Ziggler versus Daniel Bryan, both coming off an amazing ladder match the night before where they were headbutting the shit out of each other on the top of the cage. You know their heads hit a lot. I don't know how they put on an amazing match tonight. The match was a very technical match to begin with. Basically, it went back to old school wrestling for a while, and I think the fans there really appreciated seeing that. I mean, I know as an old high school wrestler yourself, CZO, you could appreciate some good old school fashion wrestling. But the match started off great. It ended with
Some
with
brutal
Daniel.
blows. I mean, they were getting really heated, and you could tell that they were really giving it their all. Yeah, I agree. It was a great match.
Great match.
They had they had the return. Correct me if I'm wrong. The return of Sheamus at the end of that match. He's been gone for a while, and he came
Yeah,
back
well,
and yeah.
Bad News Barrett was commentating on the side of the match, and then at the end of the match, he came in and attacked Daniel Bryan, and then Sheamus came out, and basically you thought that he was gonna save Daniel Bryan and Dolph Ziggler, but he ended up just getting some cheap shots on him, and he came back with a huge red mohawk, and he had braids on his beard, and he looks pretty freaky. But I'm excited to. I like Sheamus as a heel. As a face wrestler, he's more of like a cartoonish, kiddish kind of wrestler as a face. But as a heel, I think that WWE needs some more good, strong heels, and I think that's what they need right now.
I agree, and I do like Sheamus as a heel. He's a big dude, really physical in his matches. That's another thing I appreciate in wrestling is when the wrestlers are physical and really pound each other. I think his mohawk though, that was a little strange. I like mohawks, but it
It
was
was
definitely a
a way to
different
give
look.
gives him that evil look, though, and I think it'll be fun.
Yep, I
Um,
know. Right after that match, they had a four-way tag match. That was an exciting match. We got to see the
that
Lucha
was
Dragons from
Cesaro,
NXT,
Tyson, yeah,
and
Cesaro.
we got to see some great in-ring moves from the Lucha Dragons, and overall it was a great match.
Yeah, to get into the Lucha Dragons, they were NXT champions for a while, and they just made their debut together as as a tag team because Sin Cara was a singles competitor for a while. But I like to see them as a tag team. They were fun. They were a high flying tag team, and his partner. Help me out with his name. I'm sorry.
He's doing some crazy stuff. He's not. It's the first time I saw him. I didn't write it down. It's my bad. But he was doing some insane stuff that I've never seen before, and it was fast paced. He kept up the momentum. It was really good.
Yeah, it was a great match. It's good to see, and it ended up with Sin Cara, uh, and his name is Kalisto, and Big E and Kofi Kingston with the win. And then after that, they had a Lesnar and Heyman were backstage, and Heyman told Lesnar that Rollins is here, so that basically they just headed back to the ring, and that's when the assault began on everybody
On
there.
the on the ring staff, yeah, they came out and Rollins was all like, "Yeah, I'll let you get your rematch right
You thought
now,"
there was a rematch, yeah,
and you knew it probably wasn't gonna happen. And he kind of was like, "No, my ankle hurts and I'm jet lagged, so I'm not gonna fight you right now." And then Lesnar just went crazy, and that's when he tore up, the staff.
right, right. So well, we already talked about that. The next match of the night was Stardust versus Damian Sandow. It was pretty much
Damien
Damian's,
Mizdow.
well, Mizdow. Yeah, he's still going by Mizdow. And it was a pretty quick match, very basic match. Definitely a match that didn't show what Stardust could really do, because we all know that Cody Rhodes is a great in-ring wrestler, and he just never got the push that a lot of people thought he would at first. But I just think he never found his way. But Stardust is a good character. We'll see. It's never
Yeah,
going
he's
to be a
definitely a
main.
character, and I like having that balance of actually having characters instead of just people playing their name. Um, so
I
Stardust,
agree, but get a push though that when he was younger, a lot of people thought he was going to get a huge push, like be like the next like Randy Orton type character, or, something like that. But he just never was able to get to that next level as Cody Rhodes. So he went to Stardust and did the whole thing with Goldust for a while.
yeah,
Now he's on his own. I mean, maybe Intercontinental Champion at one point, but I don't think that he has, that kind of character has what it takes to make it to the top.
yeah, definitely not now. The match ended with Mizdow doing a skull crush finale, um, and then he got the win, and the Miz came in and did it to him, and then he was just ripping Mizdow while he was down on the ground.
And it was pretty funny. The Miz was just going nuts on Miz now, and a lot of people don't realize that the Miz actually is really funny as well as Miz Dow is.
Yeah, he's got great character.
Yeah. So the next match of the night was one that I actually really enjoyed because it was another NXT character making his official Raw debut. He was fighting Curtis Axel or Axel Mania versus Adrian Neville, and I think he's just going by Neville now in WWE Raw. But it was a if you don't know anything about Neville, definitely watch some stuff on the network with him. He's a high flying, ripped animal. He's very fast. He's an exciting wrestler. He has a weird looking face, but he is. I think that he's going to be somebody to look out for in the near future.
Yeah, I think that was one of the first times I saw him, and he looked interesting. My thing I always look for is when these guys come up and they're doing the crazy moves at first, for to see if they'll keep doing it, and be able to perform at a high level, doing these types of moves within the ring. So that's something I'm gonna keep an eye out for.
Yeah, kind of reminded me of young Rey Mysterio with how quick he was. I mean, his style is different, but he was almost just as quick as Ray used to be. I mean, maybe not as quite as quick as Ray was the fastest ever, but this guy is very fast too. Um,
Yep. Well, then on to the next match of the night. Cena came out, and he got a great ovation of boos. Um, he was going to
people say
he went ahead and put up his United States Championship for an open contender, and Dean Ambrose came out and challenged him to that. I thought it was a pretty solid match, going back and forth.
it was a great match actually. I really enjoyed it, and they were both coming off pretty physical matches from the night before, but it was great to
That's one
see
thing I
Dean.
do want to point out that you just said there, right there. This night's Raw, the amount of energy the fans were given, I felt the wrestlers were given, tenfold back. Like you said, they just came off of physical matches the night before. It looked like everybody was beating the crap out of everybody tonight. So it was
It,
really entertaining.
not to go back, but at one point when we were talking about the the match between Daniel Bryan and
Ziggler.
Dolph Ziggler, he they just looked at the crowd and you could tell they just wanted to give everything they could for that crowd because that's the type of wrestlers those two guys are.
Yes. But going back to Cena and Dean Ambrose, uh, back and forth, and then Cena got away with the win, and they kind of shook hands in respect, mutual at the end.
Yeah, that was a match. I don't even know if they planned to shake hands at it. Maybe they both thought that they gave a very good effort, and John Cena is looking down at a younger guy and saying, "Hey, maybe this kid's got what it takes." And I'm a Dean Ambrose fan, and when the Shield broke up, it was hard to decide who really was going to be the one to step up to win the title first. I thought it was a race between the three of them to see who was the best between the three. Obviously, Seth Rollins won it, and I think that he deserves it. Obviously, we'll talk a little bit more about this later, but he, of the three, he definitely deserves to hold the championship right now, in my opinion, because I don't think Roman Reigns has what it takes, and WWE knows that. They actually listen to their fans, and they clearly said that tonight at one point during the broadcast too.
Yeah, you hit it, right on the head. That's exactly it. Seth Rollins got the look, the in-ring ability, and the mic skills, and he can handle the task of being a WWE champion. You look at Roman Reigns; he's not there yet. He can definitely get there. And Dean Ambrose, he's definitely got great talent, and I could see him in the future. If he works at it, accomplishing a championship.
Yeah, he's obviously not there yet either, but I always thought after that match that he had with Seth Rollins when it was the cage match, and they both did some crazy matches. And if you remember the Raw before that, Mankind McFoley came out and gave them a little advice for their match, and they both delivered on that. And he just never got the push that I thought he was going to get at the time, because it was hard to see who was going to get that push right after the Shield broke up, because it obviously started with Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins feuding for a while, and then after that, Seth Rollins is the Money in the Bank championship, and that brings me to another point. I'd like to get some predictions by the end of the night of what we think is going to happen at Money in the Bank. I know it's a couple pay-per-views away, but now that the Money in the Bank briefcase is no longer in the picture, which was a huge part on many Raws for a while, because you never know what was going to happen, who's going to be the next one that deserves to win that. And I was thinking about that earlier. We don't have to. We could change our predictions at some point if we need to, but it's that's going to be a really hard person to pick right now. Because who's the next person to
Yeah,
step
because
up?
they don't even. I mean, the Money in the Bank ladder match doesn't even have all the contenders in the match yet, right?
Right, correct. I mean, they don't. You don't know who it's going to be, but judging from who's out there right now, it's hard to say. Daniel Bryan. I mean, are they going to have another person step up? Seth Rollins is the man right now, but who's the next person to step up now?
It's true. It's something I think we could definitely get into, later on. Maybe when we get a little bit more of a picture of, who's champion of what at the time. That'll also take, into consideration. Um, After that match, moving on, there was a six tag team divas match, and I'd say it was decent. I think AJ took a lot of punishment in the match. I mean, they were bending her over their knees left and right. I don't even know how she was able to take all that damage. Um, and it was AJ Lee, Paige, and Naomi versus the Bellas and who was that one?
Natty.
Natty. Yeah, and Naomi came away with the win at the end. So that was the Divas uh, schedule for the night.
Beat her with a move called the backside, where basically she jumped up and that big ass hit her face. And I'm not gonna lie, it was a pretty sexy move to watch happen. But I got the win over Natalia, and
The
it
Bellas.
was a decent match for the girls' match. They always do one a night. I don't get me wrong, I'm a huge fan of divas. I That brings me to another point that in the Hall of Fame induction, which you will be able to hear our views on that in another podcast, but they inducted Medusa, also Alundra Blaze, and I was a huge fan of hers. I'm a huge fan of women wrestlers in general, but right now there's just there's only a handful or a couple even women wrestlers that I really enjoy watching because I think the other ones are just they don't have what it takes to be true divas.
Yeah, and I kind of think that's maybe why they took away. Correct me or tell me what you think, but the women's championship that's been gone for a little while, and I think this whole new Divas era is kind of like that championship. I mean, I know they were
Well, it's
together
funny.
at the time.
I know that I know you haven't seen the Hall of Fame induction yet, but
Yeah, I'm gonna watch that.
Medusa out there. This is a spoiler alert for all you fans out there that haven't seen it. But when Landra Blaze was giving her acceptance speech, she pulled out the women's championship of the garbage can, and we all know that she threw it in there on WCW Monday Night Nitro that really started the Monday Night Wars. But she took it out of the garbage can. She made a comment. She said, "This is a true women's championship," and she made a little face, and everyone knew that she was referring to it's not a divas championship; it's a women's championship. And
Right.
I wish they would bring that back because I don't like the whole diva thing
Well, that's what I'm kind of thinking is like maybe they might when they get the caliber Trish Stratus, Lita type females wrestler back. Right now I
And
think
don't
it.
get us wrong, we're supporters of AJ Lee and Paige. We both think that they are great wrestlers, but they don't have enough competition there going against people like the Bella Twins. And Natalia's a good in ring wrestler too, but her character just isn't developed enough to make her an elite status like the Trish Stratus's,
Yeah, and I
Lita's.
feel the same way with Naomi. I think she has some good talent, and they just don't use her correctly. So when she does get out there, her talents aren't getting the full extent that they could be.
Right. And with that being said, though, don't get us wrong either. Vince McMahon is a genius for having that show. I completely understand why those girls are
Oh yeah,
there.
there's a
That
bunch
show
of diva,
makes
total diva
a lot of
fans that never even watch wrestling. So most of that.
there's plenty of women out there that watched WrestleMania this year simply because they're total divas fans. So I support that part of it, and I get why they're there. But I'm not. I don't think they're good in ring wrestlers, and that's my opinion of that.
Yeah. Well, on to the next match. We actually had Rusev come out, and he was going up against Goldust, and I thought it was going to just be a slaughterhouse, but Goldust held his own for a while. And then Rusev ended up put him in the submission hold, and he tapped out. But it was a faster match. They didn't drag it out too long, and like I said, I thought Rusev was going to come out and just hit him with one move and make him tap out. So I'm a big Goldust fan, so it was good to see Goldust actually hold his own for a little bit.
And with that being said, there was no sign of his woman there.
Oh yeah, good point. I was gonna bring that up. Yeah, it looks like Lana was there for one time, and
Remember,
then
she got
she's
hurt
probably been.
yesterday at WrestleMania when Rusev
Oh,
accidentally hit
that's
her off
true. Yeah.
apron. So that's a storyline. I don't know what's going on. You're almost sensing a breakup there, but it's hard to say. I know actually they were dating in real life as well. Maybe they
I did
broke
not
up
know.
and they're putting her with somebody else.
Mm. Well, the
But she's
final.
also in a WWE movie too, so I know
Yeah, you
she's
were you were telling me that.
yeah. So maybe that's why she's taking some time off. That could be it too to film the movie.
Well, I'll let you go ahead and start off
Yeah.
with the main event. They basically, the Authority, Rollins, Kane, and Big Show said that they're going to do a tag match against Orton and tell Orton to go find two teammates if he can. I'll let you go ahead and start off with that, Pickle.
So uh, basically Ryback came backstage and told Randy Orton that he would be his partner in the match because whenever the authority is out there, Ryback's hungry, so feed me more. And everybody knew that Roman Reigns was going to come out at the end, and he came out through the audience, didn't get the best ovation. He's just, I hope that they develop his character in a way that could save it, because I'm a little worried about him. He's not a strong character yet, and everyone thinks he should be a lot stronger than he is, and maybe he should, but he's not getting a lot of respect from the fans right now, and it's clearly shown by the amount of crazy
Yeah,
fans that
I
he's
think
got.
that they may have to move him in a different direction, like you said, just to save some of his character. They could do a complete 180 and make him a heel. I think he could be a pretty good heel if they start pushing him that route. Um,
I think he'd be a heel right now. I can't see him keep going as a face, but
right.
maybe a heel will save him, and maybe one day he could turn back to a face, much like The Rock did, because
Yeah,
The
that's what I
Rock
was thinking
wasn't
too.
winning
'Cause
over
that's what The
the
Rock
fans.
did. It'd be a good push.
The Rock wasn't winning over with the fans when he was Rocky Maivia, so basically he became a heel. Everybody saw how great his mic skills were, and he became the best, one of the best in-ring performers of all time.
Yep. Well,
That's a
that's
best.
also in that match. That's where they actually zoomed out and they showed the whole entire. I mean, the crowd was going nuts in that match. I couldn't even understand the crowd for half the time, but they zoomed out and that's where they did an awesome wave. I think they went around like 4 times. That's where the pickle was saying that the wrestlers were just kind of standing in the ring, not really. I think they were kind of looking out into the crowd. It did look really cool. I mean, I've seen some waves go around before, and they're not that great looking. This one looked really cool. Um,
The fans gave it their all tonight. It was a great night for to watch wrestling for with the emotion of the fans and the crowd. It was awesome.
Well, we're going to go ahead and we'll cover a couple more things. I do want to go ahead and let you guys know that we are doing these recaps for people that miss Raw and don't have time to read up on them, so they can just catch this podcast, listen to it in their car or at work. We will be doing another Monday Night Raw recap next week, so definitely check out for that. Be on the lookout for that. Definitely like or dislike this video. Let us know what you want to hear, and subscribe. We're going to do a bunch of podcasts. We'll be covering different topics, stuff that you guys want to hear too. So if you have a topic you want to hear about, let us know, and we're just going to keep bringing them out to you. So anything else you have to say, Pickle?
And we're just two long life wrestling fans. We know a lot about the history. We're both big NWO, WCW guys from back in the days. We love the WWE. We know a lot more about it than a lot of people out there. Not saying we know the most, but we hope you respect our opinions, and other broadcasts will get more into what our opinions are of some things. And if you disagree or agree or just want to create a conversation, please leave a message, and we'll be taking questions on our message board that will answer another podcast. So keep on listening. We appreciate it, and have a great night until next Monday night.
Yes, and
Yes, and
we will be getting
we
some
will be
video
getting
here
some
soon.
video here.
So we will have some video.
So we will have some
Play some
video.
live
We'll play
broadcasts too. So be
practice
on the
too.
lookout.
So
And
be
like
on
the
the
Pickle
lookout,
said,
and let the
from
pickles
the animated characters
from the
CZO
animated
and The
characters
Pickle.
go and
Until next
pickle.
time.
Until next time. We're signing off. Pickle.